Every morning we wake up, we experience a rich explosion of what we call consciousness. Me, or you. That little voice or person in our head that's really what we think is really us. Whatever that means. We imagine our conscious self is sitting in a theatre in our heads, watching the world unfold on a giant stage. Is this factually accurate? We all seem to think so. Problem is, if you are that little person consciously making decisions, then that means there has to be another, even littler person in that guy's head. And in that guy's head, that's inside your head, there has to be another, even littlest guy inside the littlest guy's head.
It's a premium waffle, right? Premium syrup for this waffle.
I think the most important question to ask is just how many guys are inside you, Joseph? Pause this video right now.
Yeah,
Go and
excellent.
read The Self-Illusion by
Bruce Hood. And when you've read it, you can join us for the discussion.
or you can join us anyway because we're going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
And I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Aisha Library. Top marks for that, by the way. That was good. Top marks.
Pause this video.
Yeah,
you like
was
that,
great.
yeah?
Yeah, that was good.
So what did you think of the book?
It was a fun read. I have to give credit where credit is due. I had my problems with it, as I always do. I'm starting to think I'm just a very nitpicky
I think
reader.
this book should have been the one that Benedict Cumberbatch. Because remember, this didn't have no special star reader, but I still found it quite entertaining for a non-fiction book. Do you know what I mean? So I think it was definitely worth the read. There was a lot of information in there, and I want to go first and tell you guys all about it.
Yeah, there was a lot of information. Not all of it, I felt, was the topic.
One thing, yeah, exactly. At first, the main problem I have with this book is the title, because as I'm reading it, I'm thinking, what's this got to do with the self-illusion?
This is about the brain.
But it was about the brain.
You had to link it yourself, though.
I mean, you can't talk about the self without talking about the brain, but it was mainly about the brain. I thought it was going to be philosophy, but it was not philosophy.
It was a science.
But it made sense because he tells you certain... So basically, we think the self is an illusion because you think you make decisions about things when in fact it's deep-rooted. These behaviours are deep-rooted into your DNA and we all have them. So that's the angle he was coming on, but his title was a bit clickbaity.
It was clickbait. That's a good word.
It's a good title. I literally decided to read the book because of the title.
So it did its job.
I mean, I read the blurb, but I still went, the title.
Did its job then.
Got him a sale, so it is what it is. I'm going to go first, because I got one.
How many do you have for this one?
I don't know, maybe 6, I think.
Okay, you got one more than me then.
I think I got 6. Are you still you when you are sleeping? A man who said he was sleepwalking when he drove 14 miles to his mother-in-law's house and killed her was found innocent of murder. Kenneth Parks, 24, was acquitted by an Ontario Supreme Court jury of killing Barbara Woods, who was 42 years old. Mrs. Woods was struck with a tire iron and stabbed 4 times and died in her bed in her suburban home on 24th of May 1987. Her husband, who was choked and stabbed, recovered from his wounds and testified that he never saw his assailant. Miss Edworth said that psychiatric evidence indicated that Parks was sleepwalking at the time of the killing. She said Parks had a history of sleepwalking and asked the jury to acquit him because he was in a sleep state in which there is no will or conscious mind directing activity. The jury did so on Thursday after 9 hours of deliberation. That lawyer needs a pay rise.
Oh my days. They need a knighthood. Pay rise.
If you do something while you're sleepwalking, are you culpable?
I think you should probably be culpable. I mean, look,
You're not, though, are you?
I mean, it's a bit like, look, even for
Murder.
the basis,
He drove
of
for 14 miles.
Cool.
He didn't like drop out, push someone over something.
So why did he go to her house if that wasn't him? Why did he go to his mother-in-law's house if that wasn't him?
He wasn't in control of what he was doing.
No, but why did he go there if it wasn't him? Why her?
When you say him, what do you mean?
Why did he go to his mother's house? He was in his mother's house.
He said,
we know that much.
He said if it wasn't him. What does that mean?
Okay, I'm saying if he was someone else, as the jury decided.
No one's saying he's someone else, but he wasn't his usual self, is what they were saying.
No, of course not. I mean, look, if I drink enough of these, I'm not going to be my usual self either.
That doesn't
Well, look, I think, okay, cool. So we let this guy off, he does it again. Then again, then again, and again. And each time it wasn't him, we keep letting him off.
No, but it was...
But that can't realistically run.
No, but it was one time.
You're not doing as good of a job as the lawyer did, clearly. Lawyer did a phenomenal job.
But, you know, I mean, the point is that...
This one time, it didn't mean anything.
But the point is, you know, even in the law, you know, you can get away with things because you aren't you, or you don't know if you're you, or whatnot. So it's, you know, it's weird. You
They
know?
should just be like, then we will not put you in prison.
It won't really be you.
Do you know what I mean? It won't be
the other
you.
guy.
It'll be the other guy. Put another guy in prison. All right, please. Trying to run this Bruce Banner gimmick on me, like, don't do that.
Well, it works.
I'll give you extra
Acquitted,
years.
you know.
I'll give you extra years to try and acquitted is crazy as well. Not even
So what,
sentence
just go
commuted. Go home.
So,
Sentence commuted. Nothing. Man said acquitted off scot-free. So how do you feel if you're the family of the victim?
you'd be like, oh, well, it's not his fault.
I don't know if you'd say
Yeah,
that.
no, that's what you'd say that.
You getting
wanna see
yourself.
someone
You hear
hang.
about that CEO? You hear about that CEO that the man shot in the street
No.
the other day? He's a CEO of like a health company, and he was doing all kinds of like denying people their, you know, life-saving medication or whatever. You know what insurance companies do, getting their pennies. And some guy pulled up on him in the street, bow, execution, shot him on the floor, you know, and like
Double tap.
Might have been a triple tap.
Oh my
He got him good, and then people are saying like, even if they catch him, like they don't want him in prison because he like performed a public service, is what people are saying, and like his mask slipped or whatever, and they got him, they found him, and they know who it is now, and I don't even know what's gonna happen to him, but loads of people are saying, yeah, in prison nothing's gonna happen to him.
Well, yeah. Fair enough. That's interesting.
I wasn't 100% sure what kind of book we were going to get because of these clickbaity titles. The Self-Illusion, Why There Is No You Inside Your Head, is a British psychologist's attempt to have a philosophical conversation with himself and his bamboozled readers, establishing why the perception of us as inside our heads is incorrect. While I'm sure this book will be interesting, we have read a similar title, Brain, The Story of You, by David Eagleman. Pause this video right now. Which is how I know for a fact that we will not be getting any answers to any questions. Bruce Hood does not know whether we are inside our heads or whether we are our heads. He knows that the brain is the shape of a walnut, that it has the tactile consistency of a mushroom, and that it contains up to 100 billion neurons. And those are all interesting things to hear. The deeper questions, however, will be left for us to ponder after being psychologically and philosophically armed. So that's
basically, what you're saying is you don't see the point in reading books like this.
No, I'm just saying, I think the point, what people think the point is, or what the author is trying to make it seem like the point is, isn't actually the point.
Or the point of reading books isn't what we think the point is, or what most people think.
I think reading these books is kind of what we do. We have conversations, and we don't necessarily come to any conclusions.
You don't get anywhere.
You may not get anywhere, but that was never promised.
Somewhere. No, you might get somewhere. It's just not where you thought you was gonna get.
Yeah,
That's what it is. That's what it is.
It's not promised getting anywhere when we have these conversations either. Nobody
Very
promised.
frequently, we don't get anywhere.
Exactly, it's kind of like that, and
so
it's like
you might get somewhere.
when you
but then
read a
might
book
not.
called "Why There Is No You Inside Your Head," that makes it seem like you're promised you're gonna get somewhere.
No, I was excited to get.
Which
somewhere.
is exactly what you said in terms of clickbait title.
I was excited to get somewhere. And
But I knew we weren't gonna get nowhere because when we
I
read
should've known.
"Brain: The Story of You," it was the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, where it was like no answers to any questions, no concrete evidence, no nothing.
And this is why the book by Lisa Feldman Barrett,
How Much Is It Made?
is the best book we've read.
What makes
because
you
we
say
got
that?
somewhere.
Yeah, we got somewhere. It was
Yeah,
great.
we
But
got-
Ultra Process people got somewhere there as well. A
Did
lot we got.
I don't know if we did.
Nah, we
But
got
anyway, we're not
somewhere.
going to do this again.
Yeah, we're definitely not. This video, we already did a video on this.
Yeah, exactly. Babies are very intelligent. They are proficient copiers. Even if they see you fail at a task, they can understand what you was trying to do. Scientists conducted an eye-opening experiment with babies to explore how we learn by observing others. They had mothers show their babies a strange task, pressing a button on a box with their foreheads. Fascinatingly, the babies copied this exact action, pressing the buttons with their own foreheads. But here's where it gets more interesting. In another group, mothers' hands were tied while they used their foreheads to press the button. This time, the babies did not imitate the forehead pressing. Instead, they used their hands. Why? Because the babies realized the mothers were only using their foreheads because they had no choice. This experiment highlights that even babies don't mimic blindly. They consider the context and intention. It's incredible. It's an incredible example of how, from a very young age, humans aren't just imitators but interpreters. This is how we begin to learn and adapt to the actions of others in a meaningful way, shaping our understanding around the world around us, which is quite something. So that's what I really liked about the book. It's like the sociology. It's like what makes humans tick, sort of thing. And I thought that was really interesting. There was another study that they did, and I think these type of things every parent should read and do this sort of thing with their children because it'll make them more intelligent. There was another study where they got a child and they got a biscuit tin. And they went up to the child and they said, "What's in this?" And the child looked at it and said, "Biscuits." And they opened up the box and inside was pencils. And then they closed it and then someone else came in the room and they said, "What do you think Sally would think is in this tin?" And they said, "Pencils." So at a certain age, they said at the age of 3 or 4, the child will think that Sally will automatically know that it's pencils inside. But when they get to 5 or 6, they start to work out, oh, I know it's in here, but she's going to think. So they kind of work out what you would think. They start to realize that you are a person. You have your own thoughts and sort of thing. Yeah. So it's like, if you were to get your child to understand that at a younger age, they might be smarter, they might be more advanced. But it's also just interesting to know, the differences between the ages 4, 5, 6, and 7. But yeah, the book was fascinating. Honestly,
it was fascinating, and there was a lot of fascinating stuff about human development in there. Yeah. Some of which stood out to me specifically, and it's going to come up later in my notes. But by no means am I saying this was a bad book. No. Yeah, I'm just in case.
Believe me, I've read about bad books.
A sniper comes
by
for me.
you.
Yeah, in case the sniper come for me. I'm not saying that this was a bad... I mean, we've got a piece of cloth on our windows now, so the sniper can no longer get us.
Yeah, you definitely doesn't have thermal.
I mean... and I'm hot, so I'm done for.
Calm down.
Synaptic pruning. How the brain trims itself. The 86 billion neurons in your brain use synapses to connect with one another. Shortly after birth and continuing into the late 20s, your brain undergoes a process known as synaptic pruning, where it eliminates connections that it does not need. The author likened this to unfollowing someone on Facebook that does not follow you back, which is how we know he's old as fuck, because he still uses Facebook. I immediately thought of it as a computer eliminating tabs that aren't being used. So that's one thing where...
look at my computer.
Oh, yours is shocking.
Yeah, but I use all of them.
It's not possible.
I use all of them.
It's not possible. You should see my dad's.
His
is terrible.
So I've got about 15 tabs on each window. I've got 2
you got more windows, innit?
I've got 2
windows. More windows.
15 tabs on each of them.
Oh,
but I use
crazy.
every
and they're
one
all
of them.
porn.
That's what the incognito tab is.
Oh,
I don't get me started on
use
that.
Incognito tab. Listen, stand on business. Stand on business.
No one's going through your shit.
If you look at my internet history, you deserve what you get. You deserve what you get. Literally.
Real bad man.
Come on. That's it. Stand on business. I thought it was very interesting how the brain regulates itself, though, in terms of making sure that you are as efficient as you could be, and you still fucking up.
Well, no, I mean...
this is how I like to prune my synapses. Eliminate my brain's connections.
No, I mean, look, this is the thing, when you read it, we read a couple of books about the brain. Some of this information we've heard before, the synapses and stuff like that. But it not only does it reawaken the knowledge inside your head, but you kind of understand it just a little bit better. And it's... we are like malleable. As we come through the world, we can just adapt to our surroundings, and our brains can just, attach onto everything. And if there's nothing there, it just cuts them off. It's very, very, it's just very, very interesting. And it makes you think, if there was some drug in the future that allows your synapses to stay open, I mean, there's got to be some reason why it gets rid of them. Maybe your brain would just work too slowly or whatever it is. There's got to be a downside.
Well, they said. I believe.
They can't know,
I believe, and people can correct me if I'm quoting this incorrectly, but in the book it said, adult brains have like 15,000 synapses of a possible like 4 quadrillion or something like that. So a lot of them are being cold. It's not like a little bit here, a little bit there.
Yeah, that's
it's like mass deportation.
It did say Trump style, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, they did say babies. They get 2 million a second or something like that. 2 million a minute. They build up. At a certain point, they start cutting them off.
2 million what? Dollars? That's J.K. Rowling money.
Yeah, I know, right? Yawning is not contagious for children under the age of 4. Yawning is famously contagious among adults, often triggered by just seeing or thinking about somebody else yawning. However, the research suggests that children under the age of 4 do not yet exhibit this contagious yawning behaviour. This difference is linked to the development of empathy and social mirroring. Contagious yawning is thought to be connected with our ability to empathise with others, which develops significantly as children grow older. In young children, the neural circuits responsible for mirroring others' actions and emotions are not fully matured. Interestingly, this lack of contagious yawning is also observed in individuals with autism, furthering highlighting its ties to social and emotional processing. Bonus question. Do you know why gagging and vomiting is, for some people, very contagious? I know you don't know. This phenomenon has evolutionary roots, serving as a survival mechanism. In a communal setting, if one individual vomits, often due to consuming something toxic, others nearby are more likely to vomit as well. This reflex could prevent poison or help expel harmful substances from the body. This deeply ingrained biological response explains why even watching or hearing somebody vomit can trigger a physical reaction in others. And that basically blew my mind. The problem I had with this book is, as I was reading, I've been thinking to myself, yes, this is fascinating, but what has this got to do with the illusion self?
Yeah.
But finally I realised that basically the author's trying to say that lots of our human behaviours that we think are under our control is not actually a choice. We think they are, but it's not. Something is forcing us to move and act in certain ways. But think about it. If a group of 30 of our ancestors are foraging berries 20,000 years ago, and they come across some unsafe poison berries, and one of the group of the 30 start vomiting because their stomach happens to be sensitive enough to detect that the berries are unsafe to eat, that triggers a mass Who Wants Chowder Family Guy scene.
Everyone
starts vomiting. And, you know, you save at least some of the 30. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it starts to seem like we as humans are a virus with a goal of devouring and multiplying. We think we are making decisions and choices, and the choices that we make are usually head towards our desires. But ultimately, what we desire is not our choice.
No, that's...
So, yeah.
It's all true. It's all true, everything you said, but I just don't know if that was... You do this thing where you, like, make the author's point for them when they didn't make it properly themselves.
What do you mean? That's the whole point of the...
You're like a judge in a court where you're like, so what you're saying is that, you know, he wasn't in his right mind, and therefore, and the lawyer's like, I guess, if that's what's going to get him off, I guess.
That's literally what I got from it, though.
I mean, look, I'm not going to tell you that what you got from the book is wrong, but I'm saying... Is there a point to be made?
Better.
No. But what I'm saying is there a point to be criticised in that the author hasn't actually made that point? It's just that's what you got from it. So
well, I thought he did make that point.
Well, that's alright.
Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But if that is true, and if that is the case, because I don't know if you know anybody. Do you know anybody that you make a gagging noise and they will start vomiting? Because that's quite common. It's normally women. No, I know at least 2 women that will start. You go. If all you have to do is and they'll be like stop.
Yeah.
They will vomit.
Bad.
Like will actually vomit.
That's
and
crazy.
I think they're weird, but I assume it's a case of their ancestors have died out or something. Because that's not. I don't think it's as common. I don't think it's that common anymore. Well, not anymore. But I don't think like loads of people are like that. But there are definitely people who. And you guys will know people who are sensitive to that.
I've never met anybody like that, to be honest.
Maybe that's why you don't understand it as so
much.
Well,
look, what that point about, you know, communal vomiting and things like that, obviously, as we know from reading books about evolution, we still need to read a proper dropper book about evolution, which we've been saying for like 4 months. Yeah, something like that. there's almost every behavior that we think we consciously choose on a daily basis, there's an evolutionary reason behind it, or thousands and thousands of them. So it really doesn't surprise me to hear that, and it makes total sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm almost mad that we've read so much about evolution, because it didn't blow my mind the way it should have done if I had never been exposed to that before. Like,
I even told someone about this, and they were like, "Oh, wow."
yeah, no, well, I'm hearing it, and I'm like, well, that's fascinating, but I'm not surprised,
Yeah.
because like, why would it just be a random thing? Loads of people run out here thinking things are just random. You're just choosing things every day where you're not. But none of that has anything to do with the self-illusion. That was my only
as I
issue.
said, I agreed with you.
And just linking it back to... You're linking it back to, you know, we don't choose anything sort of thing.
So now I understand what you're... Now I finally understand what you're saying. You're saying...
Welcome to the convo.
Yeah. No, because I couldn't get what you were saying before. I was like, what are you on about? But you're saying that I am basically making excuses for the author by saying that he's saying that our behaviours that are ingrained are illusion, basically.
Yeah. Which I don't know if that's what we were promised.
No,
with
exactly.
The title.
Well, yeah. No, it's...
And
okay,
like
it's definitely not what
with the introductions as well, when he's talking about, oh, who are you? When you're thinking, this is kind of why I was
do you see the way he started the book?
Oh,
he said,
my
when
God.
you wake up, you are experiencing yourself. I was like, yeah.
Give me more. Tail wagging, you know. Tail wagging. Tail wagging.
Right, he doesn't. He said, you're experiencing yourself. He said, there's an explosion of consciousness. And I was
started talking about triangulating yourself, where he was like, if he said, point
Dawkins or
he was like, point to you, and then point to where you think you are coming. And he was just saying some next mad thing where I said, what do you mean you can triangulate yourself? What does that mean?
Yeah.
And like, he was just...
Over-promised and under-delivered.
Do you know what I mean? He was sucking, and then just as I was about to finish, he
said, your time's up.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, dude. You know that...
My mouth's tired.
Oh, my God. I said, feet clenching the bed sheets today. Do children learn languages better than adults? Believe it or not, this is a myth. Adults who are already fluent in and understand one language will be better equipped to learn a second, because they already know how language works. Partly, this myth exists because children have more time to dedicate towards languages and are less concerned with the social ramifications of making errors. That was the part I really found interesting. So, when children are learning languages, they basically don't give a shit if they sound silly or not. They're just trying to speak.
No.
They're just trying to speak. Exactly. So that's why they say ignorance can be bliss, or ignorance can be a tool, you know?
To be fair, I think it's right, because someone who's really dedicated can learn a language in 2 or 3 months.
Exactly. So, but when they say children are better at learning languages, that's not true. Children learn languages.
I don't know if what you said is true. So,
I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true.
So you said they say children are better at learning languages, and that's not true. I think children are better at learning languages purely for the fact that if you, as a person, get to a certain age without learning any languages, you're screwed.
Without learning any languages.
You're screwed. You're done. You're not learning enough.
But that's what I'm saying. How many adults are there like that?
Well, there's some feral ones.
Huh?
There's some feral people that don't know.
I think on the whole.
No. On the whole, but that doesn't mean adults are. It just means...
It does mean adults are.
It means a socialized adult. It means a specific adult. Even if it's the norm to know a language, you still say it's a specific adult.
It's not that specific.
If
it's
you wipe
the general,
the
if it's the general, if it's the majority,
but
it's not
still specific.
It's not that specific.
It's specific. It is. If an adult who knows a language will be better than a child who doesn't know a language, it's kind of obvious, really.
Right, exactly. But what's interesting is they say children do learn languages better than adults, but not children are better at learning languages.
See?
So that's where I think there's an important distinction. Do you see what I'm saying? I think they do.
So basically, what you're saying
but they do because of the societal ramifications of making errors. Adults are going to be like, oh, I don't want to, je suis, and children are like, which I thought was interesting, but it is, there is a, psychologists do say there is a learning window, and children are in that learning window, but that's not necessarily because of their brains, but it's because they don't understand enough to be awkward at making errors.
Well,
that's part of it.
Well, it has to be their brains too.
Well, everything's our brains. I think that's the whole bloody point of the book, to be honest.
But
it's not because of, Their brains are sponges or
If he
whatever.
named the book The Brain, there's 100
Exactly,
other books
exactly.
like that. So he had to do something
Exactly.
different. And he tricked
If he
you.
called it,
He tricked you.
he tricked us all.
Well, mainly you. You. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. You experience yourself. And I'm not talking about night times when you're alone with a bottle of lotion, like Joseph.
I don't use lotion anymore. We're long past that.
I'm talking about the
KY
fact.
jelly.
I'm talking about the fact that your everyday life is an experience. It's not real. Stay with me, guys, and tell me this doesn't blow your mind. It's called the illusion of self-transparency. We assume that we know ourselves, but studies in neuroscience reveal that the brain processes vast amounts of information outside of our conscious awareness, right? I mean, we all know this, but for example, decisions we think we make consciously often begin at an unconscious level. We have technology that shows decision-making activity milliseconds before people are aware of making the choice. So something deep below our self-consciousness is making decisions for us. This is a deeper level than our so-called free will. Amazing, right? But wait for the slam dunk. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman highlighted the distinction between the experiencing self, the one in the present moment, you experiencing the world, and the remembering self, the one that recalls past experiences. These two selves often have conflicting perspectives. For instance, during a vacation, the experiencing self might feel stressed in the moment, but the remembering self may later recount the trip as joyful. This duality creates a gap in fully understanding what it's like to be you at any given time. So, if you don't know what it's really like to be you, then who the fuck does?
Know? Who
Right?
does know?
The brain is not a passive recorder of reality, but an active predictor. It constructs our experience of the world and the self by interpreting incoming sensory data based on prior knowledge and expectations. This means we experience a model of ourselves and the world rather than a direct reality. As neuroscience Alil Seth puts it, we are controlled hallucinations informed by our brain's best guesses, which I thought was a fascinating. And I mean, say what you want, but a battle between experienced self and the remembered self is something that happens all the time. Think about women who keep having babies. They go for I'm not even just talking about giving birth. Going through the 9 months, the uncomfortable, you can't sleep on your belly, you can't turn over, all of the uncomfortableness, and then after that, it's a good experience, love being pregnant,
100%.
Think about going to the gym. When you're in the gym, you're sweating out, but after you finish in the gym,
and you see the pump.
After you finish in the gym, you're like, oh, that was so good.
Yeah, you feel
so,
the pump.
that's
That's
a
a
cool,
cool, that's,
even books.
Yeah.
You're reading the books, you're going through the book, you're like, fucking hell, this is dull. Certain points, and then you get to the end, and there's a big climax, and then you say, oh, there's a brilliant story. You're so childish.
Me? No, but listen, you're 100% correct. I had a great quote one time, which I should probably have saved for quote today, but I'm going to spoil it now. Forgetting is a human superpower. If we could remember how things felt, we would stop having wars and stop having babies. And that is
I've heard that.
Do you know what I mean? It's like we need to be able to forget things. Yeah.
Versus the experienced self. But yeah, no, it's fascinating. So basically, I mean, you go through your day, you ask someone how was your day, and you go, yeah, it was alright. But you don't remember the time when you was fucking, constipated or whatever.
Do you know what I mean? Stuck on the toilet. One leg in your child's one leg out, Regretting that Indian you had last night.
Yeah, you don't think about that, do you? Of course, there's an extra layer of confusion too, because when you are experiencing your remembering self, you do so through your experienced self, because you're remembering in the moment.
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
I said, of course, there's an extra layer of confusion too, because when you are experiencing your remembering self, you do so through your experienced self.
That's more than one layer of confusion. That's more than one extra layer.
Because if you have the remembering self and you've got the experienced self, you can only remember in the moment through the experienced self.
You can do this all you want. It doesn't make more sense. Huh?
Is that not helping?
I don't know.
Because remember, you've got the remembering self,
yeah,
and you've got the experiencing self.
Yeah.
You can only remember now. You can't remember yesterday. You can't remember tomorrow. I mean, you could, but you got experience to remember. It's alright. Don't worry. These guys know what I'm talking about.
No, I said
they at least think they know what they're talking about. At least I think I know what I'm talking about.
They're gonna remember that they experienced that they know what he's talking about.
I got one more.
I've got two more. How? You're actually taking a piss. Like, I'm going to check your notes. Or one time when you said I was at 6, I'm checking notes, it's going to be like 2. There's going to be like 2 there. You didn't fucking write your notes.
2 on 1.
You didn't actually write any notes. You just freestyling from what you remember in the book.
Gosh.
Would that make you a better or worse podcaster if you just forgot to write your notes and just freestyled from the book and wung it?
Mate.
Wung it? Wunged it?
Wung it, you know. Whatever works. Whatever works, isn't it?
I confess I really wanted something a bit more information dense rather than a something thoughtful that makes you think sort of book. I shouldn't be surprised given the title. It's not as if we were ever going to get an X marks the spot map to where we are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little bit frustrating, however, hearing this author say things like, here's an exercise you can try. Find a quiet spot and then think about yourself. Try to find where yourself is. Yeah. And this is what bloody passes as literature. Yeah. You've published a book writing this. You know, think about yourself. Try and find where yourself. How?
No, what did he say? He said point to where your head is.
Yeah, that pissed me off because I was like, bro, please, I paid for this book.
He said, that's where you are. Wherever you point to your head, that's where you are.
I said, bro, I paid for this book. Like, please, do not piss me off. But it's not what I felt like I was promised. And that's probably the only criticism I will have of this book. Because, like I said, it was, you know, incredibly engaging. There's loads of things that I've...
Yeah, no, it was engaging, which was surprising how engaging it was. But... the vibe I'm getting from you is that you didn't like the book.
It's not that I didn't like it. It's just like...
But he can't... No. Okay, we're going to have... We've had this conversation before with another book, and we're going to have it again.
Okay.
So you said you didn't get what you was promised.
Yeah.
Right? But there's nothing you can do about that.
What do you mean?
Because realistically, it's all speculation.
Yeah, no, that's why I said I shouldn't be surprised. Because think about it. What would have been what we were promised is an X marks the spot map to where you are. Here you are. You're welcome. Yeah, which we was never gonna get.
But you was never gonna get that. But then you can't mark him down for that.
I don't know if I would say I'm marking him down for it, but I absolutely could if I wanted to. So that's why
we had this conversation before. You said, well, you knew to the author. You was like, well, you knew that when you decided to write this topic.
Absolutely. I don't remember what book it was, but it sounds like someone else saying.
Yeah, it was recent. It was a lot. It was fluke.
Was it fluke?
I think it was fluke. He was like, it was the same sort of, oh yeah, well, none of this is proof. You just think.
Oh yeah, you knew that when you picked this genre as well, and you knew. No, but you knew all of this going in. You knew. It's your fault.
Would you rather not have literature on this topic?
No, of course not.
Exactly. So don't mark him down.
I didn't say I'm marking him down, but if I was gonna mark him down, it would be fair because, like,
and if you keep talking, I'm gonna mark him down.
It's like if you're on MasterChef and they say, you know, your challenge is to make a great steak, make a great medium rare steak, and you make the best well done steak I've ever seen. It could be amazing, but this is not the assignment.
No, I think a better analogy would be if he made the best medium rare steak, whatever it was, but the person who was tasting or reading the book didn't like it.
No, because it's not I don't like it, but it's like you said I was going to get a medium rare steak. You give me a well done one, a very good well done steak, but it's like it's not what you said you was going to give me. You know, so therefore I'm marking you down. They do that on MasterChef all the time, you know. They're like, this is a great steak, but it's not medium rare, you know.
He did. I don't think he did.
This is a great dish, but it's not pad thai, for example. It's a great noodle dish, but it's not pad thai. So for authenticity, you get marked down all the time, and he knew that going in.
Talking about MasterChef, that guy got cancelled, didn't he?
Which guy?
The main baldy.
Did he?
Cancelled, sexual harassment, all of that. People are dropping like flies.
Like flies,
you know, he stepped down. He's like the main guy.
Oh, I'm dead. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Then get Jay-Z soon.
You'll be next, yeah.
Me after Jay-Z, though. What a world. But nah, that's crazy. Yeah, they're dropping like flies. Do we know anyone?
But a little boy went one.
Do you know what I'm saying? Bro, someone said he's got 101 problems. No. I was like, Jesus. There are actually a lot of interesting facts in this book so far. I have to give the author credit. Although there is also a lot of waffle. If only this book was called How Your Brain Works, it would be a smash hit. Bruce Hood seems totally to have forgotten about his mission to debate the location of the ghost in the machine, the whereabouts of the human consciousness, and is instead going on about the brain and how neurons connect through synapses. Don't get me wrong, it's interesting, but it's not what I was promised. Damn you.
Honestly, it probably took me about halfway through this book to just give up with that and start to see what he's trying to. Because I was so annoyed.
Take it for what it was.
I really enjoyed the book. I mean, even through, but I'm thinking, what's this got to do with the illusion of ourselves?
I think your outlook on some of these things is a little bit different from mine. So you will be like, if I enjoy it, where do I have the right to complain about something? If I enjoy, like, because as a customer, you're like a punter. As a punter, you're just like, give me something I'm going to enjoy. If you give me something I'm going to enjoy, well done. You know.
But I don't think that's what I was doing. But if let's pretend I was just to entertain this conversation, would I be wrong?
Well, that's a good question, to be fair. That's probably the best question you could ask. But, you know, you come to my bar and you say, give me a rum and coke, and I give you something that's a whiskey and coke, and you're like, this is the best drink I've ever had. Would you be like,
I can't fire you for that. I can't report you for that, surely.
No. I mean, I don't think you would. I don't think a customer would. But it's like, if you're judging my drinks now, let's say there's 3 bartenders there, and we all make the same drink. You say, make me the best rum and coke you can, and I make you a whiskey and coke, or like amaretto and coke instead, you're going to be like, this is very, very, very nice, but this is not at all what I asked you to do. Yeah. Like, you can't take directions, you can't take instructions, and...
You need to run the place.
You lied to me. You lied to me. I don't like it when people lie to me. Security!
I'm going to say my next point, unless it's your turn.
No, I said my last one.
Oh, okay. I've got 2 more.
These numbers is not... Nah, Elijah, please stop. Please stop. Please
I've got 2 more. I've got 2 more.
How?
Did you know being ostracized or excluded triggers a primal fear rooted in our evolutionary history? Experts done today show that even trivial exclusion, such as being left out of a simple ball game, activates brain regions associated with physical pain.
Damn.
So they did a study where they got 3 adults. 2 of them were in on the test, and the third adult, who they were actually conducting the tests on... the third adult, they were actually conducting the experiment on. So what happened is the 3 adults would throw a ball to each other in no particular order. After about a minute or so, the 2 adults who were in on it would only stop throwing the ball to each other, excluding the third adult. Which is where they found out that being excluded activates the brain regions associated with physical pain. Imagine this is over a stupid ball game with people you only just met. But why does this happen, you might ask? You guessed it, evolutionary biology. In the hunter-gatherer societies, ostracism leads to the loss of group protection, loss of resources, i.e. hardship, then death. And that's clearly wired into our DNA. What's funny? And it's true. Today, this fear manifests in modern context, from workplace dynamics to playground games. Chronic ostracism has severe psychological consequences and is a common thread in backgrounds of individuals who commit acts of violence. School shooters are usually victims of ostracism. So these things, you know, they are... You know, everyone knows what it feels to be left out. You feel dirty.
Yeah.
You know? You feel dirty. Like, no, why does no one want to play with me?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, there's something inside you that triggers, you know, a feeling. You know, you want to, I don't know, try and be more nice.
Yeah.
Try and be nicer.
I mean, they call it FOMO. They call it FOMO, you know, fear of missing out.
Oh,
so they call it
yeah,
FOMO.
Okay, so I never heard that one. But yeah, so, you know, we've all got these things inside us. And what the author's trying to say is, oh, you think you are you? You know, you think you choose these things, but these behaviours are deeply embedded.
Yeah, this is ordained for you. This is written.
And the most interesting thing is, it was a stupid ball game with people they don't even know.
You don't even know.
You just sign up, come do a test with us. You don't even know what you're doing. You throw a little silly ball, and your brain's still going, they're leaving me out. You're an adult. You're an adult. You're not a kid,
adult,
you know. You're an adult.
Came from work, bro. Throwing ball.
They're not throwing the ball to me anymore after a minute.
Yeah.
So what does it do when it's your actual family or it's your actual kin or group or whatever? You know. So these things are. It's interesting. As I said, I thought this book was very, very good, even though it didn't hit the what was it called?
It didn't achieve the target assignment.
That's what I knew. I was gonna say target assignment. It was the brief. It's the brief.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not what we thought was going to read. Exactly. Which is, look, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but I feel like if you can't mark it down for not writing what you said you was going to write, what can you mark it down for?
Sorry. I didn't think you was gonna say that.
You wrote something totally different than what's in the blurb and in the title. It's like it's a totally different book.
Yeah, I asked
You know?
you to write a comedy. You wrote a horror.
Can you imagine a tragedy?
It was a very good horror.
A tragedy.
Yeah, it's a very good horror. But it's not one.
Just like, I was in the mood for a laugh, you know?
I was on the edge of my seat.
I'm out here getting murked. Yeah, no, 100%. What can you mark it down for? Total disconnect between what I thought I was going to get and what I got. And it kind of does, you know, if you blindfolded and you drink a pint of milk and someone told you, or you drink some orange juice, someone told you it was milk, you're going to throw up, you know? Because there's a disconnect. You did, and it's a disconnect between what you thought you was going to get, what you get, which can spoil the product entirely, you know? You may love milk, or you may love orange juice.
No, that's very good. That is a very good point, you know. You got to know what you're getting.
100%.
You got to get what
you got to be able to taste it before you taste it.
Yeah. I've got two more. No, joking. I'm my last one. Laughter is not just a response to humour. Laughter is a social lubricant. Laughter is a fascinating social tool that serves multiple functions in human interaction. It plays a critical role in navigating and easing social dynamics. One key function is its ability to diffuse awkward situations. In moments of discomfort, laughter acts as a non-verbal signal that everything is okay, helping to alleviate tension and create a sense of safety. And it has to be genuine laughter, I'd like to add. We humans are quite sharp at detecting a false laugh. Laughter is hard to fake convincingly. Genuine laughter originates in the limbic system, the brain's emotional sensor, and is often involuntary. It reveals our true feelings in a moment, making it an authentic display of our emotional state. People can sense whether laughter is real or forced, and this discernment can influence the depth of social bonds. Additionally, laughter is a subtle way to show that we are non-threatening and align ourselves with others. By laughing, we demonstrate that we are like them, fostering group cohesion and mutual trust. Studies in evolutionary psychology suggest that laughter evolved as a bonding mechanism, particularly in early human societies where group harmony was essential for survival. Interestingly, the majority of laughter in conversations occur in response to mundane statements rather than overt jokes, emphasizing its primary role in social connection rather than humor alone. So, you know, these things that we do every single day, I mean, I don't really laugh so much because I'm around him all the time. But, you know, these things that we do...
He's got me.
Yeah, these things that we do all the time, we think it's, you know... I mean, no one thinks that they decide to laugh, surely.
People don't think about it.
But
it's not something you think about.
But we think laughing's normal, and it is. But it's for a reason. It's not necessarily. So you think something's funny. You can think something's funny and not laugh, but you're laughing as it's like a call and response. You're laughing to, like, you know, tell somebody everything's okay, sort of thing. There's a biological reason why we're doing these things, and it's not you, is what the author's saying, even though you don't believe that's what the author's saying. You think I'm making a reason for the author.
I don't think it's wrong, but I just don't think that's what... I definitely don't think that's what the author meant when he said he was going to tell us where we are.
I'd love to speak to the author.
He said, I'm going to tell you where you are, why you are not inside your own head. And he was like, well, you know...
Thinking, where would I be then?
Do you know what I mean? Looking in my pockets, all sorts. Like, where am I? Yeah.
Do you regret reading the book?
Nah.
Of course you don't.
Don't know why you asked me.
End of the video.
You're acting like this.
So what would you say out of 5 then?
5. No, I would say...
I would give a strong 4.
I was going to say you can't realistically... 3 feels like a disrespect.
Because of the information you get.
3 feels like a disrespect.
A strong 4. If you got rid of the title, it'd probably be a 5.
Well, this is what I said. My only criticism is that everything that we read is not what we paid for, which is quite a strong criticism, and why I feel like it's worthy to take off one. It's not insignificant. It's not insignificant criticism in the case of but if the title was just changed, like, what do you mean? If the title was changed,
does the title
if it was
matter?
a different,
does the title matter? Though?
You picked the bloody book based on the title. You know it matters.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, does it matter once you've read the book?
So once they got you, they got you.
It mattered before you read the book, but now you read the book, it doesn't matter.
Bro, it never bloody mattered.
The book could be called the Bible.
Where are you going with this?
I just mean it could. I mean, you could just change the name, and it doesn't matter. The information's still the information.
So no titles matter then?
Exactly.
Well, if that's how you feel.
So I'm just saying, there's an argument to be made that the title doesn't matter. Is what I'm saying.
I don't think there is.
You don't think so?
I don't think there is.
If you change the title of the book, if changing the title of the book is gonna change a 4-star book to a 5-star book, kind of a bit
Why?
insignificant. What if I took
Why?
a letter off?
Sorry?
What if I took a letter off the title? Would that change it significantly?
No.
So 2 letters, 3 letters, 4 letters. Like where if I took the self off, if it was just the self instead of the self illusion, would that make it a 5-star?
Well, I tell you what, people don't actually read letter by letter. They read the word as a whole, which is
Yeah,
why
I
I
know,
don't
but I'm
necessarily
saying if
believe
I
that
took- no,
taking
but
a
I'm
few
saying-
letters
no, but
off
this
is
is
the
what-
same thing as having a whole different
No,
title.
but I know, but it's called the self illusion. But if we took off illusion, would that automatically make it a 5-star book? You get what
Well,
I'm
the
saying?
reason why I felt like it didn't deliver on its promise was not necessarily the self-illusion bit. It was more the why you are not inside your own head bit, which is a very long time. That's a choice to put
Was
that
that
on
part
there.
of the title?
Yeah, it was called the self-illusion, why you are not inside your own head. And it was like, you put that on, that's quite a mouthful, pause, to have on the title of on the front cover. Like, to design that cover, you got to squeeze that in there, it's a choice. His editor said, does it have to be so long? And he said, yes, it must, because it's important. Do you know what I mean? And then it wasn't after all of that. So that's why I feel like you should be marked down for it, because, that went through several stages. Like the graphic design guy was like, well, if there was if there's fewer words, cover would look better, it's more marketable, etc., etc. He said no, it has to be.
The cover was quite cool. I didn't notice the fingerprint here either.
Yeah. I was staring at it for hours on my
didn't look
computer
at
though.
it.
So
Oh yeah, no, I press play.
yeah, I was staring at it on my computer because I have like the audiobook thing in the little window. I don't know if you know. Oh, obviously from laptop you'll know. They have like the little window for the audiobook. And then
So
my
yeah,
notes.
do you want to end with our quote of the day?
Well, I already had a quote in this video, which I thought was a pretty good quote. So I will
Yeah, say it again then.
defer to you.
Say it again.
What, a quote?
Yeah.
That's a good idea, actually. Quote of the day. Forgetting is a human superpower. If we could remember how things felt, we would stop having wars and stop having babies.
Yeah,
And nothing can stop me having babies. Real bad man, 22 baby mother.
Baby for that. And on that note, till next time.
Till next time.